Um, Today is the second of the new year. So let's talk about the life map. Let's talk about vision. Because Lenny here. So I was going to talk about his question, but this might help anyway. All right. Don't worry. Don't be scared. The life map wasn't a homework assignment for today, but it should be something you've done already. Who here has any experience with their life map? Hannah's getting dizzy over there.
So
All right. David has so experience. Maybe he's done it, maybe he hasn't.
I did it, but I just don't feel like I was in a good place at that time to really do it.
Yeah. Okay. How long ago was it?
About half a year ago, I would say.
Okay.
I downloaded the file, but I didn't make. I don't remember. It was like a year ago or so.
Okay.
But I forgot about it.
Ooh, this is gonna be
I'm
one
the
of these
same. I believe
pulling teeth from
I
these
did it
calls, guys, isn't it?
a year ago,
Uh-huh.
and I'll have to find it and see what it said.
Yeah. That's the magic part. When you write it down and you forget about it for 5 years or 10 years and you come back to it and say, holy shit, I wrote that down. You guys know at some point on one of my life maps, I wrote, publish this book. At some point I said, have a healing practice. At some point it said how many people, how much money I was making. At some point it said, do workshops. At some point it says, sell workshops out. At some, I'm gonna
It
have to revisit.
works.
I'm gonna have to revisit mine. So one of the things I'm gonna be doing that you guys are actually the first to hear is I'm going to be um, not fully rewriting, but updating the life map. And so the life map that you see is essentially my rewrite, my version of what I learned from my mentor. Um, he passed, and we had, um, there was copyright issues and all this sort of stuff. So just, I couldn't just ask him to use it. So I essentially took what he did, I rewrote it, I made it mine, but I inherited the essential premise. Well, over the years, um, I've been working with clients and myself, and one of the things that we do is cinesomatics with the life map. And that's new. That's nothing, anything I learned. And if you guys know Fred, I actually reached out to him. He might introduce himself at some time, but he's all fucking living his best life. I heard from him, and he's the one that if you go on my YouTube channel, my main one, and I think it said Terror and Rage to Peace or whatever it was, and he was one of the first people that I really took multiple sessions on to really go into um, his life map and doing cinesomatics with it. And in what I posted as a reply to what he said, um, 3 years later, oh hey, you know the mountain that I imagined when we did the life map. Well, I happen to be living in a place just like it, and there was these sort of things that came up, and so through this process and doing the sort of archetype work is that I discovered that you can actually use your body as a crystal ball. Now that's the sexy way to say it, right? You can use your body to see into the future of what your life's going to be like. Now, there's a couple things working here. There could be metaphysical, esoteric stuff where by using your body as the unconscious, your unconscious is plugged in and tapped into the collective unconscious. It's plugged into something beyond your conscious mind. So that's a little bit more on the sexy, esoteric, kind of metaphysical aspect. There's also just the really practical pattern recognition aspect, more of the scientific engineering side of you've been doing this for 30 years of your life. It is still showing up in your body. If you keep showing up like this way in your body, I can predict that in another 30 years, this is essentially what your life's going to be look like. That's one of the number one things that I use, pattern recognition, pattern prediction. When I work with you guys, any of my clients, Cinesomatics. In one of the old examples that I have, excuse me, I'm just recovering from flu, something, is um, the guy, I have two samples up on the Cinesomatic website. Well, one's a guy, one's a girl, demo sessions. And in his, I'm showing him how he's dumping. In his handshaking, he's dumping the energy down. And I said, if you do that, that's going to lead to you dumping your business. And then we got into like why it could be. And I said, it kind of seems like you just get bored with it and you just want to dump it. And then you have to figure out something new. He's like, yeah, it's exactly what I did. I learned the stuff and then I'm start making money and then say, I'm done with that. Try something new. And you just got to start over. That's that kind of thing where you have this pattern uh, recognition and in the body, when you can discover this, you can see what your life is going to look like if you keep doing it. Well, another use that we have is saying, okay, let's imagine you're doing the thing that you want to do, right? So, Mauricio, maybe it's, right, imagine this coaching business that you have and it's working. Heather, right, it might have been, show me what was it? Maybe mountain biking in the Olympics or something like this. Hannah, show me winning a Grammy. These sort of things. Okay, do that in your body. All right. Then we start that process over and say, what's the dissonance? Does does that feel like that is going to happen? Does that feel embodied in you? Or does it feel like it's not? Does it feel like a fantasy when you move? Does it feel like a hope and a dream? Does it feel like it's still off into the future? Because if you're manifesting from this place, if you're trying to create your vision in the world, you're envisioning it. You know it's ahead of you. You know it's in the future, but you have to envision it and feel it as if it's now. Because if it's not now, then you can't feel it. This is like real big secret magic shit that they don't teach you when they talk about this woo-woo law of attraction stuff. This is why you have to feel it. In cinesomatics, it's about embodying it. And so if you can't embody it now, it's out of reach to you. So everything that you guys have wanted and have yet to actually manifest and achieve and create in your life, I promise you it's because you have not embodied that. And that contains many, many things. Who you have to become to embody it, what you have to heal to embody it, what you have to learn to embody it, the choices that you have yet to make or unwilling to make, the shadow material. Do you stare at the ground all the time and not let yourself actually look up into your future? Are you stuck in a fantasy? All of these things. And there's a lot. People will read these manifesting books, they'll read these Think and Grow Rich, they'll read blah, 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 all this stuff. They'll have inspirational, motivational movies from, maybe their idols, whatever it is. And year after year, they wonder, how come I can't create this? How come I can't manifest this in my life? How come I can't make my vision real? Well, one of the big problems is you can't account for all of these things into these books. Now, I haven't really put in a little thought into this, but there may be at some point when I work with enough people over enough time doing this, there might be like, okay, we can distill these like 100,000 variables into maybe like 50, 100 things. Where, all right, you got vision. These are the components of vision. You got the feeling. These are the feeling. And maybe we could literally sort of create like a 50 prong wheel or something like this, where it's like, okay, you need all of these ingredients in order to manifest or to create or something like that. That might be possible. We can't account for every individual person's stuff that they got going on. But if we say, all right, deal with your trauma. Okay, well, that could be 50 years of stuff for somebody, right? It could be deal with your non functionality, right? Because you can heal all your money wounds, but if you don't know how to make money, it doesn't mean anything. And you can make all the money in the world you want, but if you haven't healed your money wounds, you might sabotage it. You might throw it away. You might take yourself out. You might have done it for the wrong reasons and be very, very unfulfilled and be even worse off. Who knows? So when I teach this, when I offer this to you, my intention is always holistic. My definition of success in my own life, and thus what I bring to you, is holistic. So when you hear me say something like success or make money, making money to me isn't just about this, right? It's just not about that. It's the entire thing. And for me, this isn't going to be for each of you or all of you or maybe any of you. But for me, my path of healing has also been entwined with my path of finances, of abundance and wealth. And so when you hear me talk about money, it's a reflection of me and my journey that has been from scarcity into abundance and how much I've had to heal in order to not be homeless anymore and to be on a path of making tens or hundreds of millions of dollars doing what I love in the world, helping people heal and have fun. And oh, we got some real cool stuff planned in the next like decades. Like just a little drop. Retreats, maybe like, oh, I had a really good idea watching some Graham Hancock like Easter Island retreat, Egypt during the eclipse retreats. Um, yeah, so some real fun stuff all around the world, doing very advanced work. But fun stuff like that that I can only sit here and tell you about if I had been able to figure out money. Because in order to figure out money, I had to figure out all this shit. And that's not everybody's path. There's a lot of people, I work with a lot of clients who make bajillions more money than me, but maybe their intimacy, their sex, their relationship, maybe their health, maybe their self actualizing, their spirituality, trauma, healing their family relationships, all this stuff. So for them, they're like, yeah, yeah, you just buy it. I'm like, yeah. But for me, that's been a huge journey. And so when you hear me share this stuff, because this is, well, most of you aren't beginners in this group, but remember that in the next 10 years, we're going to have people watching these replays, kind of like Heather did, but instead of 6 months, it might be 6 years of going through these public intro calls. So when you hear me talk about money without that context, it's like, oh, this guy's just all about money. No. Oh, this guy's all about success. No. Not the Matrix Wall Street Journal idea of success and money. When I talk about money, it's simply been for me a measurement of how much in the entire spectrum that I've been able to heal. Just as a way to talk about it. It doesn't mean anything, but it's just, excuse me, we can quantify it very, very easily because it's a number. If I said, well, let me share with you how much more love I have in my life, how much more beauty. Yeah, it's a little easier, right? Because you can see, okay, see me 5 years ago, 10 years ago. There's obviously a difference in that. You guys get the point. So when I talk about success for you and manifesting and having your vision and creating what you want in your life, we want to take in the whole picture. It's not about adding a zero to your income and taking a zero off your relationships. You understand what I mean by adding a zero to your income? It means like 10xing it, right? That's what it means. I, what this work offers is a path to riches, not only physical, but emotional, mental, spiritual, and financial, relationship, all of it. Because on my path to wealth, what I want to stand for, who I have to become, right, is an integrity. It adds to the world rather than takes from it. I have better relationships rather than sacrificing relationships. I have honesty and integrity in what I do rather than lying and cheating to get by. My health, I have great health. I don't sacrifice all of my health in order to make more money. I don't kill myself, right? I also don't martyr myself. I also don't play games like, oh, spirit is better than material, and I'm enlightened, but I'm poor and can't do anything about it. I'm sure every single one of you have seen different aspects of that throughout history, through different people, and perhaps throughout your own life. So, what I'm offering you in just these words of success is that entire picture. Because it's very easy for egos to come in and say, oh, well, I don't care about fancy house. I don't want to be successful. I just want to heal. Glenn. It's the whole package, my friend. It's the whole thing. You can have priorities. You can have your focus. You can choose what you want. And be very cautious when you say no to things in order to say something else out of, let's say, superiority or out of um, modesty, right? We don't want to do any of that stuff. Say, I love my house. Don't need a different one. Okay, great. But if you say, I'm happy with something small, when deep down inside, you're limiting yourself. Aha, that's the issue. If you can truly say, size, I can be content anywhere. I have the capacity and I'm able to have a mansion and I'm also able to have a hole in the ground. Cool. I can play with both of those. Cool. Great. You're set. Fine. Don't need to even do anything. That's mastery. You're 99, you're 0.0001%. But most people will do two either things. Say, I'm so terrified of being small. I have to compensate by big stuff. I did that. And on the other side is say, who am I to have something so great? That's not for me. No, I'll just be happy with this little bit. That's, your true self isn't saying that. Decades of traumas, limiting beliefs, negative emotions, cultural conditionings, failures, rejections, brainwashing, all of that muddies it up. And if your true self is, I'm happy with a mansion, I'm happy with a hole, I love you, great. Don't need, that's it. Wonderful. That's what it's about. But if you pretend and through all those distortions aren't healed, there's going to be problems. You'll get jealous. You'll get resentful. You'll get sick. You'll never be fulfilled. All of these things start to happen. So, full circle here. And so in cinesomatics, when we're working on the embodiment of your vision, these are all of the things that we're going to want to look at, that you're going to want to face to get really honest with yourself. And that really honest with yourself is going to require you to look at all these little filters, distortions, judgments, traumas, stories, mythologies, archetypes that between your heart's desire, between the center of your true self and your conscious mind has all these distortions. Guys, does this sound familiar? Does this sound exactly like what happens when you communicate in the cinesomatic communication model, when you're giving and receiving feedback, workshops, and all this? It is. It's the exact same process, except it's internal. So, as you live through your life and wonder, how come you're not able to manifest? How come you're not able to create what you want in your life? How come you're not able to uh, achieve your goals? How come you're not able to be fulfilled and actualize yourself in life? All these different things are the things you're going to want to look at that are getting in the way of you doing that. It's not because you don't know the magic fucking secret lost language of Azkaban or Bar or whatever, the Harry Potter or Aladdin, Abracadabra, Patronus. All right, here we go. It's not it. It sort of is, but it isn't. It's not what you think it is. It's something completely different. This is the magic. So, the life map. Because of everything that I've just shared with you, what I've done with many of my clients and doing the movement and cinesomatics with the life map process, what I'm going to be doing, I'm working on it. It's not done. It might not be done for a little bit. But I'm actually going to be renaming it from your energetic life map to your embodied life map. So it's going to be an embodied life map process. So what I'm going to do is adjust it. It's not a full rewrite. It's going to be that you're going to do the same process. Step one is going to be the same life map, but rather than it just be about the energetics of it, because while those are true, while I'm doing a lot of energetic stuff here in this work, and I'm doing quantum field stuff, and there's entrainment and attunements and all this stuff, I found that a lot of people that hear those things, it's fantasy, right? It kind of pings the new age fantasy mumbo jumbo kind of stuff. And that's fine. That's okay. That stuff tickles me too. The issue is that it's so much deeper than that. And most people don't really know what those actually mean at their depths, right? They hear the word quantum field, and it's just a lot of mumbo jumbo. There's not many people actually out there that really does real energetic stuff. And even if so, it pushes away a lot of people that would be really open to powerful spiritual work, um, that just sounds like everything else. So we're still working with energetics. I just want to bring an additional focus on the body that allows you to do something with it. Because a lot of times it's like, great, Andrew, energetics. What does that mean? How do I do that? It's like, okay. So instead, let me give you an exercise. I'm going to write out, very similar to the embodied stored exercise in my book, a process that you can do to use your own body, to go through a process of kind of sandboxing, of crystal balling how my life is going to be in the future. So I'll eventually have that rework, of that out there. Um, but this brings me to a question that I have for you guys. How valuable would it be? Is this something you'd be interested in saying sometime in the next few weeks, doing a either a few $100s or a free or just something, just class or movement workshop on life map and embodying and manifesting your vision and your future and discovering this hidden blocks of your body that might show up 2 years later on your path that would take you out, all of these sort of things, these predictive ways of manifesting and your vision and your future, but through the body. Is this anything anybody would be interested in?
Yes,
Yes.
please. I'd
Yes.
love that.
Everybody. Cool. Great. Um, and if you had the choice, would you want a half day class where I just talk about it and then you can go home and do it? Would you like a full day, um, work on one aspect of your vision, get feedback from me in a group, have everybody in the group do just one aspect, and get feedback on that? Or would you like a 2 day full blown workshop, deep diving into everybody's vision? What would be the most
I'd
interested?
prefer to
Because I can do
do
that.
it.
I mean, you guys know I could pretty much come up with anything for anything. And this could be something that's done virtual. This is an easy virtual thing.
I think an overview at first would be helpful, just and then maybe a deep dive.
Okay, cool.
I prefer to do something with your support, Andrew, like not just learn it and then go away and do it, but to actually do it with you
Okay.
supporting us.
And is that something that you'd want just so you get the idea of it, or do you want like, let's do a full weekend of?
I'm all in.
Yeah, yeah, I know you are. Okay.
Yeah, probably the 100% with your guidance, Andrew. That would work for me, like you guiding us. And also what resonates to me is one area per day or one life area, like this is
Interesting.
relationships and this is it. This is money, this is it. This is
Yeah.
emotional.
Interesting. Well, that's gonna be a 5 day.
Yeah.
But that's a great idea. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm hands-on as well.
Would you say, Simi?
I'm quite a hands-on learner as
Mhm.
well, especially with this kind of stuff. I'm been stuck for so long. I think I would do much better with the extra guidance.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And this is my life map. I found it. I have a
Okay.
lot of embodying to do,
Yeah.
and I struggle to not fill up an entire page every time I do this stuff. So
Amazing.
I
Great.
need help condensing things.
Well, the condensing isn't the help. The help is in finding a place to put all of your wonderful things in your life. Yeah. Great. Actually, that's beautiful. Yeah. So just a quick little yeah, exactly. Little feedback on. So this is the kind of thing that we can work on. Is that just that comment shows that you're trying to take the infinite desire of your heart and leave it only on one page. Get a fucking notebook, Sammy. Fill that fucker up with your heart's desires.
Yeah, I thought there was like every time I see people's examples of a vision, it's always like, two lines around this circle. I'm
Yeah.
like, how's it so neat? What's wrong with me? Like, I've got this, I'm not boasting, but I have this whole page. I cannot condense. It just keeps going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Well, this is
I
part.
need help.
Well,
Help.
yeah. Well, this is part of your story, right? You're contained, right? You've contained yourself in your life, and that could be the first choice into breaking out of this mold. Give yourself
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
Yep. I'll
Yourself.
get a massive
Yeah.
sketchbook,
Yeah. Yeah. This is
four
this
times
is
the
the kind of stuff
size.
that I have.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a good one. I've got some big kids notebooks in there, like the massive ones where they put them on canvas. Maybe I'll get their
Oh,
canvas out, do
yeah.
it on there,
So
add
it's
some color.
yeah, it's well, the more energy you put into it, the more you're going to make it real. And if that's how you do it, that's great. I'm not necessarily, I'm kind of not the opposite, but I've already spent so much time in here
Yeah.
that when I write a bullet point,
Yeah.
I mean, you can expound that. You guys read my book.
Yeah.
When I have one fucking word in there, and when I talk, I got the book out, and I'm like, hey, let's talk about this one page. I can go like this. So that's
Yeah.
just me because this is just like I've spent 30 years of this in me. So when I write it down like that, I know what that line exactly goes to in my life.
I
But
hope to get to that point, but mine's a intellectual brain dump every single time.
so my point is it's not to that point that you need to get to. That's my process. You might get to that point in a certain way. But for now, if you need to fucking color and add images and blow it up big, that's what you need to do. It's different for everybody, right? It's when somebody comes in and they're, let's say, domineering, I don't say go up and take more space, right? I help them get small and soft, quiet, still. When someone comes in small and shrunk, I say, take us some fucking space. So it's not about a comparison. It's what's going to work for you. What's the antidote? What's the remedy going on for you? And based off of our couple sessions together, how you've shown up, and what you just did there, your new choice, right? Do the opposite. Uncondense it. Give yourself permission because you have dreams. You have so much inside that the space around you hasn't fostered. And this is a
Yeah,
great way to do that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Just that alone, right? So imagine a whole fucking workshop where we're doing that kind of thing. Because those are the bits, right? Where are our limits? We don't know. We just have it feel so normal. One thing I did, I think I've shared this with Hannah because it was relevant. The first time I ever did this in its infancy, before I did this as a living, this was, gosh, maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. I was first even learning what all this was. And I was going down this path. And I had one of my best friends, he was just going down a different path. And so I started learning all this embodiment stuff that he had no idea about. And he was a musician of sorts. And this was one of the first times I started to think about And th this was the precursor to the archetype work of cinesomatics. This is before there was even archetype work. And he wanted to help him because he was amazing at what he did, but he wasn't successful, just like me. Um, and I was on my hero's journey and I got elixir. And I'm like, ooh, it wasn't the full elixir, but it was like, all right, I got a little potion. Come back with the potion. And I'm like, all right, I want you to, through movement, right? Just imagine, just symbolically with movement, right? It's the precursors, pretty cool. Precursors to the archetype stuff. Winning a Grammy or having a Grammy. He's like, okay. We were outside, and he's like, something like this. 7 years ago, something like that. I got to come up with a word paraphrasing. Para moving, to paraphrase and movement. Um, Remember, guys, this is cutting edge. Fucking half of shit I'm saying right now, I'm making up. Right? This is like all new stuff. So sometimes I'm like, oh, this is a new thing. And what it looked like was he was looking for it. He couldn't find it. And I said, oh my God, blank. No wonder you haven't gotten it yet. You don't know where it is. You can't find it. He didn't have the feeling of being a Grammy winning, whatever he was. I gotta keep things private. Um, it's not in your body. You don't know what it feels like. So of course you don't have it. Does anybody here have a mobile phone, cell phone? Yes. You guys have one of these demon devices that we all have, right? Okay. So if I said, what does it feel like? Everybody just do this. Show me holding a cell phone, a mobile phone. Everybody. Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Now stop. All right. Now show me holding a wuggage kebab. Right. Okay. So some of you couldn't do it. Some of you were just confused as fuck. And a couple of you just like made it up. All right. So you see the difference just in that. All right. This is very huge, huge magic thing here. One, you knew what it felt like. We all know holding a cell phone feels like. Now, how many of you have a cell phone? Right? All of you probably have a mobile device. Yes? Yes, yes, okay. Scream if you don't. All right, great. Anybody? Okay. How many of you own and have owned for a very long time a hoogajigawajabab? No. Okay. So now if I say, describe your car. If you had a car, you'd probably just be able to describe it pretty quickly, right? If I said, all right, now describe your rocket ship. No, not a rocket ship, yours. What color is your rocket ship? Fucking exactly. So these are one of the secrets. I'm doing this. I don't know what this means, but this is the secret. Of embodiment. This is the magic of the work. If you don't know what it feels like to have, if you don't know how to move, if you don't know how to embody it, if you don't know how to describe it, I can promise you, you do not own one or slash are in relationship with it. Does this make sense? So, Can anybody explain, reverse engineer that, what that has to do with creating what you want, achieving your goals, manifesting, actualizing your vision? What just happened here? Why is that the magic? One of the magic keys. Holly, you're smiling. Or you're laughing at me.
We had to do the movement to try get the feeling to manifest it.
Okay, good. Holly?
What you're describing is, if we don't know what something even is in a tangible kind of way, how do we know when we actually have found it or created it or it found us?
Great, good. Who else?
Probably feeling how it would feel like if we don't know how it feels in reality. It's just playing with how it would feel and
Can
work from
can
there.
you can you start over and say that again? All I heard was feel.
No, don't worry. So yeah, just imagining how would that feel? How would a good relationship would feel? How would a money how money would feel to have it? How would if you don't know the feeling in advance, at least imagine the feeling and work from there.
Okay, great. Who else?
To see your vision and to get there, it's more than thinking about it. It is this embodied feeling within your whole body that allows you to move towards that vision. Um, and get there. But without that, you're just stuck.
Great. Hannah?
If we don't know how it feels in the body, then we don't know how to bring it into our reality, or maybe even what it feels like when it comes to us.
Great.
Maybe that too.
Yeah, that's kind of what Holly was saying. Good. David?
I think it just has to be a tangible thing at some level. It has to
Okay.
be.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
not a
about
fantasy.
how
Go ahead.
what about how you show up? Like if you're not embodying it, then it's not resonating in a certain way. So you're not showing up in the world in a way that maybe you meet the right person or like resonate with the right person so that they could be the person who brings it to you. But if you're not resonating on that level, the two of you might just pass each other by.
Yeah, right. How does it get a little more esoteric? I like it. Yeah.
I would say also behave as if you already have what you want. Like behave as if you were rich. Behave as if you had a good relationship uh, beforehand. Behave as if it was already done.
Yeah. And so what's one of the secrets to that, the tricks to that? One is within your means, right? How do you I I don't have $100 million to go on a bot like to go buy a yacht right now. Isn't what I want. I don't know. But how can you start getting that feeling? Someone who lives in Idaho doing potatoes, making $20 an hour, probably has less of a chance than somebody that becomes a deck made for $10 an hour on a yacht or even a boat. That second person is going to be in the resonance, right? Kind of like Heather was saying and Mauricio, right? They're kind of showing up. They're at least, I mean, they're on a boat. They're making less money, right? So maybe like, according to the ego, it's like, oh, I'm actually halfway away from my goal of buying a yacht because I'm making half as much money. Oh, but you're in the boat industry now. You're in the music industry now. Oh, you're actually around beautiful men or women rather than 90-year-old geriatric patients, and you're wondering why you're not meeting anybody your age. Nothing wrong with them, but if you're trying to have a relationship and meet young people, right? So there's that resonance. Great. What else?
It's almost like that idea of sinking your teeth into something. Once you have an experience once, you have a resonant point where you can connect with that again on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And it's like I want deep, vulnerable, connected relationships, but I wasn't even turning on my video. Do I think or expect that I would have that with anybody here? You know, but once I understood what that feels like, I can do that again and it doesn't feel so foreign and it's
Right.
more likely to happen.
I would call that what's Andrew's word for that?
Embodied experience.
Yes. Yes, but what's the other word I was looking for? Anybody?
Breakthrough?
No.
No.
You've only heard me say it 1,000 times, guys. You got to know what this is. None of you are new here.
Which part
What
of what she
Holly,
said?
yeah, what the whole point of what Holly was talking about just now?
Reverse wiring.
No.
Choice? Making a new choice?
No.
Embodiment.
Yeah, but not what I'm looking for.
She wasn't showing up.
No.
Rejection of
No, 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 guys.
life.
No, no. Wow. No, a reference point.
Oh.
Yes, anybody? Reference point. Right? Now she had the experience and now what it's like and wants more of it, right? If she's not showing up like that, she doesn't even know what it is. How would she if you never have the experience, you don't even know if you want it or not.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that reference point. And that reference point, Holly doesn't know what she just brought up, which is great. That reference point can be your stepping stone to the embodied feeling. You can use somebody else, not use, you can benefit from others' reference points, right? Let's say you're all about ugly, right? You can show up and you could use this scarf, right, as a reference point of beauty. You've never felt, you don't know, but you say, oh, well, at least there's something there. And then you can do sort of the next stepping stone, which is the magic of cinesomatics is do that archetype for yourself through the body, not just imagination, guys, in the body. What does it feel like to feel beautiful or to have a beautiful scarf? Okay, well, I can see it. Now I got a reference point for what it feels like in that person. How can I apply that to me? Now I can be it in my body, right? And then the third thing is to actually have it, actually do it. And then the fourth one is to own it. So the guy could be on a fucking yacht, doesn't necessarily own it, but let's say you're best friends with the yacht owner and you can use it anytime you want. Probably better than owning it, right? But the ego, right? The ego doesn't know what to look for, or it thinks it's looking for something and it gets something different. Which comes back to why do we really want any of these things? But as this sort of cinesomatic manifestation of your vision process that I just laid out, nobody else does this. This is all this work, guys. This is all cinesomatics of, well, what's the actual step by process where you can go from having no idea to actually owning it? It's through the body, right? This was the pathway. Everything I said is a pathway, somatic. It's the somatic pathway. It's the embodied pathway of manifestation, of achieving your goals, creating your vision, however you want to call it. Manifesting is just one word to describe all of that. I don't mean woo-woo shit. I mean, just literally take what's in here and turn it out into here. Out into here still can mean internal, right? Because you can manifest an emotional state, right? That's still it's an internal experience, but it's still something that's occurred in the physical world. Your fantasy imagination is not. An emotion is. Ooh, this is a good distinction. You can have a fantasy imagination, it's not real. You've imagined it. You've really fantasized about it, but nothing has happened in physical reality. But when you have an emotion, there's chemicals, right? There's these other things that are happening in your body. Like there's a physical response physically. You're sad, you cry. So feeling, right? This is a bridge. Your body is a bridge. Now we're getting a little esoteric here. New people aren't showing up on the calls, so we'll just dive in with you guys because I know all you. So, right? Your body's the bridge. Everywhere you move, how your body moves, right? I'm locked up here, so I was breaking a little bit, right? So all this movement, this whole space, if your hands are shut down, you lose access. You lose that bridge is broken between your energy field and the field. Your physical body is that bridge. None of this can happen, guys. Metaphysical truth here. Nothing happens outside of the body. Nothing happens outside of your physical body. Everybody in woo-woo land is trying to leave their body. How? There's not going to be a place for your consciousness to be outside of physical things. And then what? It's here. I've never met anybody that's doing this woo-woo ascending, leaving outside of the body that I ever wanted to be like. And I never met any of them that weren't suffering either. They're trying to get away from here now and being. And why? Because they're suffering. It's both. It's a double-edged sword. Trying to escape causes suffering. Why are they escaping? Because they're suffering. This is anxiety, guys. This is why the world's fucked right now.
It's like the Ouroboros should be the symbol for anxiety.
Yeah, eat yourself. Yeah, that guy. Well, there's also, you can see this in multiple ways, but you could turn in the Ouroboros, you could turn that into a negative symbol. And that negative symbol is self-destructive. There's another way to see it, which is a circle of life, right? It could be a positive symbol, but you can negate the symbol and see when people are out of relationship with it. And this happens when we do symbolism work. We have people look at the Ouroboros as one of the symbols, and you'll have some people look at it and say it's destroying itself, and then they fixate on the self-consuming self-hatred. Well, then you see people that see this beauty, the maybe self-soothing, right, or self-perpetuating, right? The symbol never ends; it keeps going. All of those different things are, I don't want to say true. All of those different things are things that they're seeing. And that's a reflection of what's going on within them. You know, our symbolism work is very, very powerful. It's not like anyone else does, as you guys can imagine at this point. It's very, very powerful. So, yeah, turned negatively, right? This is sort of this anxiety. It's just self-consumed. When you're anxious, you're self-consumed. When you're narcissistic, you're self-consumed. You can turn that into a negative symbol as narcissistic, right? You can look at this Ouroboros And in a certain way, it's narcissistic. It's consumed with itself. Huh? Anybody? All right. But really, I know I'm making a pun here, a joke, but it's really, really powerful realization. It's not the true with a capital T understanding of what's going on there. It's what happens when this energy is perverted and distorted. I was in the symbol. I was self-consumed with my own fixing. And it got me somewhere, but at some point it started to I started to eat myself. Things started to get worse. You know, self-help, better, self-improvement, personal development. Wow, life's better. I'm what right. And then oh, it's all about me. It's all I gotta fix, I gotta fix, I gotta fix, I gotta fix. And then I'm just eaten up in this. Then you have the chapter in Awaken to Your True Self. Your life is not about you. Stop fixing, start living. Some of those principles can come from different relationships with that symbol. Now you can even do symbolism work with your vision, right? What do these things represent in your life? The dream work we do is the same thing. Your vision for this next year. You can take everything in the book, apply all the principles. What's narcissistic about your vision? What's about other people in your vision? What's the shadow material in the vision? What are you trying to fix? How are you going to live your life? Where's the victim mentality? Um, where's spiritual elitism? Where's ego? Where's presence? Where are you on the wheel of fortune? Right? You can see it through that lens. You can also look at the things that you want to create in the 5 different areas of your life and look at those symbolically. What does a house represent? What does a bigger house represent? What does a smaller house represent? What do children represent? What does $1 million more represent? Right? What does a business represent? And what's your relationship with that symbol? Right? So let's say you want to start a business or have a successful business this year. Well, what does a business represent to you? Let's just rapid fire here. What does a business represent?
Contribution.
Contribution. Just unmute yourselves. Rapid fire.
Meaning.
Meaning.
Purpose.
Purpose.
Service.
Service.
Creativity.
The what?
Creativity.
Creativity. Great.
Lots of work.
Abundance.
Abundance. What did you say, Elaine?
Lots of work.
Lots of work. Right. Okay.
Responsibility.
What, Heather?
Responsibility.
Responsibility. Yeah, Heather, by the way, you have a setting on your mic,
Yeah.
an auto adjust setting. If you could turn off, because every time you start talking, it takes about a second for your volume to pop in. So if you turn off that auto mic adjustment and just leave it on high.
I'll have to find that.
Okay, it's just in your Zoom audio settings.
Okay.
David,
Solutions.
solutions. Great. All right.
Impact.
Impact. Great. All right. So you get to see each different person has a different idea, and maybe because you were just kind of going through a list, it's not necessarily your number one thing. But we can have different things. So let's say creativity, and let's say lots of hard work. All right. So you can start looking at your relationship with lots of hard work, right? What that might mean to you. Maybe it's exhausting. Maybe it's fulfilling. Maybe it's rewarding. What's your relationship with a lot of hard work? You can imagine a lot of people have a negative relationship to that. Creativity, right? That seems more of you'd imagine a lot more people would have maybe a quote unquote positive relationship to that, but not always, right? A lot of people could have a negative relationship with creativity. I'm not creative. That's not for me. I'm not that person. Oh, I'm blocked. I'm having writer's block. I'm having whatever block. Oh, creativity is so much work. God, I have to think and come up with ideas. And then there's other people that lots of hard work. Yeah, it's what I want to do. Give me a fucking shovel. Let's get my hands dirty. Let's build something huge. Um, so in each of those two examples, everyone here, right, if you had some self-awareness going on, well, what is mine? What is my relationship to each of those two things? So you can see nothing I said here was a judgment, good or bad, right or wrong. Oh, you shouldn't think that. That shouldn't be how it's symbolized to you. Now, imagine we're going to full circle here and then start wrapping it up because this is going to tie everything together, make it practical, make it tangible. Okay, so my relationship with the symbol, lots of hard work, is negative. If I'm like, ugh, that sucks. I hate hard work. I'm so exhausted. Sounds like a miserable time. And then the symbol is representative of starting business. And starting a business is your number one plan for this year's vision for yourself. You can trace that back and say, how likely that's going to manifest is probably very low, close to zero, unless you had other values or things that superseded it. Because maybe something else business stands for is freedom. And maybe you've been fucking enslaved. And for you, business represents freedom. That's the symbolism. That's what it was for me. One of them, one of the big ones. And I don't want to fucking do a lot of fucking hard work. I was lazy. I was a programmer. One of the laziest people. But I wasn't lazy. I just didn't have a vision. I just never was told or given an opportunity to work on something that I wanted to work on. So my dad and people at school thought I was lazy. Like, you fucking lazy. You don't want to do anything. No, I don't want to do chores. No, I don't want to do this fucking homework. I know it already. You know what I want to do? I want to build a computer. I want to invent this thing. I want to create this thing. So I found out I wasn't actually lazy. It was just all that energy was aligned to something that I wasn't aligned with. Now there's plenty of things in life that I grew up and said, yeah, don't necessarily want to do that, but I can do that now because I'm an adult. But you guys understand the point of freedom being something I'm much more aligned to. And so I was willing to do the thing on the lesser value of, let's say, lots of hard work. If that's all I had, probably not going to create that vision. But freedom, I'm willing to do a lot of hard work to have freedom. Absolutely. But if my relationship with freedom, that symbol, was, I don't care. I just want to be comfortable. Ah, all right. Well, then my relationship with the symbol of freedom is just don't really care. Right? I'd much rather be comfortable. So then if I had something like lots of hard work, nah, don't like it. Freedom, I don't care. Just let me watch Netflix, be comfortable. Okay. But for some reason you have the vision of starting a business, you're doomed, you know? So you see how I did this here. We could do it through talking about it, right? Through sort of mental understanding. I'm feeling through it here, right? So you can still imagine and navigate this and talk through feeling. You don't have to be in your head, right? This isn't very heady. And when you add in movement, when you add in body, embodiment, you can start changing all of that. You can discover the truth of that at a deeper level. Because if you come to me and say, oh, I really value freedom. Yeah, I'm willing to do it. I say, show me freedom. You're just like, all right. And you guys know this. Everyone here who's done a session with me knows this archetypical difference between how we think we relate to these things and the way we show up in our body. That's the magic. Stuff I said earlier, you could probably find that somewhere in some book or something on the internet. The embodiment piece of how we actually relate to this in the body That's the magic here, guys. And when you can unlock that, you can use it to discover the truth. And then the final bit is that not only can you use it to fortune tell or to reveal, you can use it to change your destiny. That's why on my website it says go from desire to destiny. Because through the embodiment, through things like I talked about and Holly brought up, right? The reference point of the scarf, right? I gave that example of the scarf, the reference point, all that stuff. Have the embodiment of that movement inside yourself, you can change that. So you discover it. Oh my gosh, this is how I really relate to this. Oh, I want to relate differently. How does that look in the body? How can I show up in the body in a new way? Oh, what would looking, what would freedom feel and look like if I actually wanted that? What would working hard look like if I enjoyed that? Oh, what's your disgust? All right, now you get to look at your disgust. How can you not be disgusted about hard work? And that's when we start doing the deep work, right? So, can you guys see how we can use this same cinesomatic process to discover what's getting in the way between you and your vision? Each one of those things could be between you and your vision. Replace starting a business with having your ideal partner, with winning a Grammy, with moving your family overseas, adding a zero to your income. It's very real, very tangible, very practical, very powerful, very grounded and embodied, and very measurable and esoteric way to do this. There's no hoping. There's no wishful magical thinking. There's no fantasizing. This is how you get in fucking do the real work. You don't get caught up into the fixing. That's a danger, right? If you start getting caught up in all the fixing and working on yourself, because you could really shift over into that. You can say, holy fuck, this is my vision. Look how fucked I am. I have to do all this work on myself. Kind of, maybe, sort of, in a certain way. But if you get caught up into that brokenness, you're going to be in real trouble. But if you follow the principles in the book, you don't have to fall into that booby trap and you say, oh, well, there's just a lot of things that I'm going to have to do in order to get my vision. Well, duh, no shit. There's no magic click. Thank God, because if you just magic clicked and the fucking yacht appeared, it would fall on your head and crush you. You know, perfect person appeared and you're not ready for them. They're going to reject you. They're going to leave you. So this is about the preparation, but it's also about the ownership. And then you eventually get to the place where you say, oh, God, this feels so good. This is so me. Eh, if it shows up, I don't care because this is great. And then you say, oh, I want it to show up. Yeah, this would be cool. You say, okay, and then it shows up. Within that whole process, that's sort of the healing. That's sort of the embodiment process. That's this internal process. You have to match it with action, external action in the world. You could shift all of this, and if you've already had pieces in place, that could be the final piece for it to just pop up, and it feels like magic. If you don't have all those pieces in place already, this is the perfect process to clear you open, so then you can take all the steps necessary to put those pieces into place and go and manifest it. So there's all of these components because some people say, well, I just healed myself and it magically showed up. And the other person in the group's like, fuck you, man. I fucking healed everything and it didn't show up and I gotta do all this work. That's not the point. They had the pieces in place already for that particular thing. They might not for something else. You didn't for this. You have to take these action steps. That's where trust, that's where you surrender, that's where you have faith, right? That's where you also add in a vision beyond myself. right? That's where if you want to add in, which you have to, or else it just doesn't work. But spirituality, there's something else going on besides what your little ego thinks. And so you're being influenced by and influencing gajillion, bajillion, gagoolian fucking amount of variables that's happening and interactions. And at some moment, the hand of a child of God just reaches over and says, "Hey, what's going on?" And you say, "I don't know. Maybe let's throw a whole wrench in this thing and see what happens." And then something magically changes. So the final element is open to grace, open to possibilities. Last thing you want to do is become so consumed with your vision that you push out other possibilities. Because what you may think it looks like isn't what it actually looks like. That person may be a different gender. They may be a different age. They may be a different race. That job may be a completely different career. That home may be in a completely different country. That's why you have to feel. If you're in your head following a set of rules, rule persons, peoples, right? You're going to miss everything. If you're just looking for the checkbox, if you're just analyzing it, if you have an image and you're comparing a projected image, now you have to have some sort of image of what it is. But if you only look at that, you're not feeling it. If there's not feeling under that image, it's like you guys have heard the parable. Oh, there's a great flood, and they go up onto the roof and they say, I pray to God, God will save me. And then some guy in a fucking canoe comes by and he's like, hey, you want to help out? And he's like, nope, God will save me. Okay, right. Blah, blah, blah. Then the helicopter fucking comes and he's like, hey, the flood's going to come and you got like 1 foot left before it gets you. No, thanks. I believe in God. God will save me. All right. Right. Then the fucking flood comes and he dies. He drowns. He gets up to the heaven and he's like, God, what the fuck, dude? I believed in you. Why didn't you save me? He's like, I sent you fucking a boat, a canoe, a fucking helicopter. You didn't do anything. When you have to force it and expect it to look in a certain way, you're going to miss out. And so when that final piece is to be open to outcome. When you're attached, that's where the suffering comes in. That's what Buddha talks about, right? It's an attachment to the outcome. It doesn't mean have no desire. Desire is really important. In the Western mystery schools that I teach, that I'm a part of, desire, that's where everything comes from. You don't squash the desire out. The suffering comes from the attachment to the outcome. Have the vision, have the desire, and if it doesn't happen, are you still at peace? You still love yourself. You still believe in God. You still believe in love. It has nothing to do with them. Attachment to the outcome, that's where you get suffering. I talk about winning the award of my book, and then we're going to close up here. I talk about the Golden Nautilus Award. When I finished that book, I'm like, this is a fucking award-winning book. And I'm not going to lie. I did it. I'm like, this is a damn good book. It's not arrogant. I wouldn't put the book out if it wasn't good. You want someone putting out a book that's like, no, I don't think it'll win any award. I could have done better. You want to fucking buy that book? No, of course not. I fucking believed in this thing. I not even believed in it. I fucking owned it. I felt it. I knew it. I knew it so much that I said, I'm going to win this. Oh, I'm going to win this fucking. Did I really care? Was I really like, oh my God, this award means everything? No, I felt it was an award-winning book. Just like Heather, right? We feel that she's an Olympic fucking biker, right? Just like we hear Hannah's a fucking Grammy artist. It was because of that I won it. And I said to myself, you know what? Even if I don't win, I still won. The right person was off. Somebody was sick. And they were too liberal. Whatever it was. Didn't matter because I knew inside. I was like, this is a fucking good book. And I would submit it again next year. Like, all right. And even if I didn't win, I'd still find a way to win some award. I win a different award. Became #1 best-selling in certain categories on Amazon. Number 42 so far on all of Amazon store altogether. 21,000 copies. It's a fucking great book, and we're just getting started. That's the feeling I had. I was not attached to the outcome. There's no magical number that I say, all right, once I get there, I'm a good person now. There's no number I have to reach before I lie in my bed, deathbed, right? I feel okay about myself. But it's fun. I want to play, right? God wants to play. Consciousness wants to play. Let's see what I can do. Let's see how high the number can get. Let's see how many millions of people can get to read this book and change their lives. Because I need to in order to feel like I'm useful, purposeful on earth. Not anymore. I did at some point. Maybe there's a percentage to there. Okay. But if you guys can feel it, it just feels like fun. I just want to play. Let's get more books out. Let's just, why not? Great news is that it helps a lot of people along the way. If it doesn't, who cares? I know it's changed your guys' life. It's changed my life. It's changed a lot of people's lives. Who cares? But it's fun. I'm going to have an amazing house. We're going to have an estate. It's like a mansion and a healing center. And it's going to have all this fucking cool artwork. We're going to have stuff from like Egypt and Aztec. We're going to have shamanism stuff from the Shipibo people. And I'm going to have Arthurian romance legends. And we're going to have anime. We're going to have Spirited Away and dorky stuff. We're going to have dragons, Lord of the Rings. I'm going to have healing, right? We're going to have like circadian rhythm lights. We're going to have button that closes all the shades at once. Why? Because that's me. That's all that stuff is me. And I love it. It's fun. If it wasn't, would I still be okay? Yeah. But we're going to do it because it's the fun game to play. And if I lose it all, okay. Kind of sucks. Probably suck for a little bit. But doesn't mean anything. Why? Because I've embodied it. This is the full circle, second, third, fourth, fifth full circle here, right? What it requires of us to become, to have the things. Once it's embodied, guys, once the stuff is embodied, you don't need it. And if you lose it, you can get it back. It's within you. If you've ever gotten raised, if you've ever made more money in your life, if you've gone from minimum wage to whatever, $1,000 an hour, $1 million, whatever it is, anything in between, you're like, okay, I've made, let's say, $30 an hour. I'm not going to go back to 6. I know how to provide $30 worth of value. I don't need to go back to work at McDonald's or whatever it is, unless I want to. If you've ever started a business and your business has failed, you don't have to go and relearn everything. The next business you build is going to be a lot quicker. It's going to be a lot easier. You're going to know all that stuff. If you lose your bike, you just buy a new one and you start off where you were. You don't have to relearn the bike for another 30 years. Right? It's embodied. You can hop on someone else's bike. Right? The first time you kiss somebody, first time you have sex, you do that 1,000 times, you probably get pretty good. Hopefully, I hope. 1,000 times having sex, hopefully you get better, right? You don't have to start new every time. It's within you. You can have a new partner. Everything you've learned, everything you've became, there are the lessons in your sex and relationships. You can take that to the next person and become an even amazing partner for them. This is what embodiment's about. You can lose the partner and still know you have all of that. You can lose the job and still know you can find another job making just as much money. So when you have this stuff embodiment, your field is different. And that's what it's about. If you can reorient yourself to actualize what you embody rather than the physical things. I can lose all this fun stuff. I can lose all this fun stuff. I can lose all you guys. I can lose the book. I can lose all this stuff. Say, all right, I'm going to be John Pinocchio. I don't know, that's my code name. John Pinocchio. And start over all again. And I'd do a pretty fucking good job because it's all in here. It's all in here. It's all in here. I know what it feels like. I know the feeling of writing a book, publishing it. I know the feeling of working with clients. I can look at people. That ability is within me. And as you do this in all areas of your life, you find peace, you find comfort, you find safety. You find that it's not about the stuff, it's about who you have to become to have those things. And then you just start to play. And the suffering just goes way down because you're not attached. You're not giving things meaning, you're not taking things personally. And then start talking about manifesting your vision. All right. I can keep going. You guys know I could keep talking, but that's my New Year's Awaken Call special. What are you guys hearing? What do you guys want to share as we wrap up here?
I'm really inspired by your vision, and I can't wait to see its fruiting body.
Oh yeah.
I I
Elaine doesn't know
just
what a euphemism is, but if she did, it would be pretty funny.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Go on, go on.
Um, the Samantha, I really appreciated your all this stuff on your life map. It was so inspiring to me because when we start talking about this, I just get this like hollow heart palpitations thing about thinking about my future and my vision, and it feels like there's nothing there. So to see yours like just endless, it was just like magic, or kind of like, wow, that's a possibility, you know. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thanks, Elaine. And we can body double if you like, if I get a lot of value out of having someone with me to compound the inspiration sometimes if I'm feeling a bit dull. So if you ever wanted to have a body double, there's so much power in that. Even if you're dull and I'm up, I'm still gonna get something from you just from being with you. If you're interested in that kind of thing. So
Yes, as I would feel like I'd suck. I don't know. I need to find myself more, but yeah, in the future.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually had mine on the table here, and I got to 10 years, and I put some stuff on the 10 years, and then I kind of got like hit the mud and got stuck. And I don't know, like I can't seem to see past that point.
Yeah, it was really cool to see Samantha's life map too. I know when I did mine, like I think a year and a half ago, I didn't want to write anything on the actual life map because I was like afraid of messing it up, or of writing something wrong or taking too much space here or not enough space there. So I went somewhere else to write it. I made like a Word document and like typed it all out. But it was just kind of funny. I was thinking about, I didn't even want to write on it. And I too, Elaine, feel like now when I think about going into the life map, I feel a lot of resistance and a lot of still that fear of I guess choosing wrong or setting it in stone, and which I'm not, but I
It's
think that
so
I don't think that I am.
yeah, it's very interesting because you don't follow the instructions. I can give you feedback because you're a feedback person, but the instructions are specifically not to type it; it's to write it. So we'll let you sit with that realization. Go ahead. Who's next?
I think I really appreciate just the super practical approach that this is. I don't think a lot of other approaches that are similar. Um, you know, as far as finding yourself and how what that means in day
Yeah,
to.
right.
So I mean, I think I still lack the vision, but I think I'm seeing the light, I guess.
And we know when you did your movement here, I don't know, 9 months ago, whenever it was, right, of where your vision was as you were walking, right? That's part of it.
Yeah.
You guys understand too that your vision all has to do with your eyes, symbolically and literally.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so amazing because a lot of times I have just this heavy tiredness in my eyes. So, wow, it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, what's the part of your body that has to do with vision?
Really felt the generosity and the care and the passion in everything you were saying on the call. Um, and I feel truly moved. I'm just so grateful for this information. Thank you so much, Andrew.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm glad that came through. I'm not trying to. It's just that's how I am. I just get nerdy about this stuff. Mauricio?
I will definitely watch the replay of this session to internalize and understand everything in more depth, but it resonated with me a lot. So thank you, Andrew.
Great.
I will try to apply the same process to my goals and to my objectives for this year. So very, very happy about this.
Great. You're welcome. Anyone else? Anna?
I actually have to go, but thanks very much, everyone. And I will see hopefully all most of you tomorrow on the fellowship call.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
Good afternoon. Bye.
Bye. Anyone else before we go?
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right. We'll see you guys. I think most of you, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the fellowship. And everyone else that's part of the Awaken group, we'll see you next week.
Thank
Happy New
you.
Year.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome. I'll let you know if we come up with a little class. Probably do like maybe in a couple weeks, just like a day overview. I think a 5-day one would is too close to do that right now. But if how things go, we can figure something out. But yeah, so I might post something, maybe have it just for a few $100, get some people on the newsletter, get some folks in and start going into this, get feedback, get your life maps done if you want to do that. Everybody has to do it beforehand. We don't waste time people doing it on the call. And then kind of like with what happened with Sammy, right? You can share them and show them because you want to do it yourself first so you know what your stuff is. Then you say, oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Well, what does that tell you? Right? So how you do one thing, so you do everything. There's a magic process to this whole thing. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll keep you guys posted. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.